Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. I am super excited to be back with you guys. I hope you missed me as much as I missed you last week, but I also thank you guys for giving me some grace because as you can see, we are still in a hotel. We probably will be here for like the next 2 to 3 months. So hope you guys are enjoying the new space on our live videos, and you'll also start to see our YouTube videos shift a little bit as well. If any of you guys watched the video from what was it? 2 Tuesdays ago, I tried to do like a grass wall. Y'all did not like that. And I heard you loud and freaking clear. So thank you for your honesty. We are now, for the next couple of months, going to be on a very nice, aesthetically pleasing, as much as I possibly can, Marriott couch. So thank you guys for giving me grace like during this time. I'm still here to tune in as much as I can to give you guys as much value as we can. And today is no different. If you joined us, I want to say it was like September 14th or 12th or something of that nature. I brought Heather from Heather Studio, which you guys loved. You said it was literally the best live stream that we've ever done. And that made me like, oh, well, we need a part two. You guys asked so many freaking questions to Heather that the hour and 15 minutes ran out very quickly. So on today's live stream, I am bringing Heather back. She's just chilling in the background right now. We're going to bring her back, and we've got 17 questions. Weird number, but that's what you guys had. 17 questions from the last live that we had together with Heather. Together with Heather. I'm going to call that's the name of the title of today's video, Together with Heather. And then what we're going to do is if you guys have any additional questions, or maybe her answer to one of these questions spawns something else in your brain, you guys know what to do. Drop a comment in the live chat, and I will be actively keeping track of it and watching it to make sure you guys get your questions answered live with us today. Before we dive in, however, before I get Heather up here, I did want to just lightly and kindly reach out to anybody who might be watching this on replay, or who is watching it live, who might be unfortunately dealing with Mr. Milton. I don't know if you guys know, but there's also a hurricane out there just chilling in the Atlantic, sipping a margarita. Her name is Leslie, and she's just trying to like not wreak havoc on anybody. Unfortunately, though, our friend Milton did yesterday. My family is all in the unfortunate immediate hit space. They're all okay. We're very grateful, but I did want to go ahead and just announce that for you guys, that I am thinking about you. You are in my thoughts, and if you guys need anything from EverBee, please do not hesitate to reach out. So with that said, someone said it looks like you brought your chair. Yes, I did. I had to. I couldn't sit in the chair. You'll actually see it right here on my screen. The chair from the hotel is over there because I'm like, nah, I can't hang. So yes, we are all good to go. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to bring Heather on right now. Hi, Heather.
Hi, guys. Hi.
Hi, can you hear me okay? Everything's good?
I can. Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
I can hear you too. Guys, we had some technical issues joining this call before, and like I could not hear anything she was saying, and I was real nervous that maybe none of us would be. So we are here. We are ready. I'm going to go ahead and just dive right in. And yes, V Marshall did make a quick note. I want to go ahead and just hit this as well. I'm going to say it wrong, but Helena, whatever the name of that god-awful hurricane that also hit the southeastern as well. The southeastern states, I want to make sure that you guys feel supported and loved and like just touched by us as well. So I want to make sure everyone can feel that like EverBee is here for you. We are supporting you. Please let us know if you need anything, and all to your families as well. Even if you're like me and you're living in the northern states, but you have family down there, our thoughts are with you. All right, so let's go ahead and dive right in. So basically what I did was I went through all of the questions that you guys had there. Like I said, there are about 17, 18 of them. And I basically split them up into different sections. So we can be very on pace. It can all make sense of like, what are we talking about? Because y'all were just jumping around. And I was like, all right, let's make this as easy as possible on Heather, but also as like concise to understand for you guys as well. So today we are going to be jumping through sections of print on demand, listings, product, legal, Etsy information, and marketing questions. So we've got about 5 to 6 different kind of topics or headings, if you will, that we're going to dive into. And if you guys, like I said, have anything while you're listening additional, please drop them in the comments for us, and we'll save some time at the end for that. So Heather, without further ado, someone asked, and this is more of a like statement than a question. But what I think they're getting at is how to promote print on demand is one thing not a lot of people are talking about. So when we're talking about like promoting your or anybody else that you work with, like any of your coaching students, any shops you might have built in the past, how do you personally promote your Etsy shop? Is it more internal? Is it external? Combination of both? Let me know.
Yeah, so for promoting, I immediately think of social media. So I hope that's maybe what the person was asking about on what social media platforms you should go on and what I would recommend. So, as far as social media, what I have always recommended is simply just your own Facebook. So, personal Facebook. And I know that's not on the business frontier, but sometimes personal Facebook's accounts can go the longest way and be some of the most engaged audiences. So, one thing a lot of people don't think about is tapping into the Facebook groups you are already a part of, too. So, not necessarily when I say Facebook groups, a lot of people think of, oh, maybe I should do like a business Facebook group.
Mhm.
And that's not necessarily what I recommend. I recommend maybe looking at maybe if you're a part of a Facebook group for your occupation or maybe your past college that you attended or university. I know that sounds very scary to promote
Mhm.
to or say, hey, I have a small business. Would you like to check out some of my products? And if you have any suggestions for future products that you would like, then, please shoot me a message or a DM and I can make that happen too.
Mhm.
So that's one of the most engaged, again, most engaged audiences that you can go to. However, I know that is scary for a lot of people. They don't want to tell people, hey, I have this small startup business. So for those people who don't want to show their face, they don't want to contact or like post in a personal Facebook group, what I would recommend is going the maybe public business route as far as starting at Instagram or Facebook. And what's really nice with Facebook Business Suite is you can double post, you can actually triple post now to Facebook, to Instagram, and then Facebook groups and
Mhm.
pages. So if you create a Facebook page for your business, then you create a Facebook group and then you create a Instagram business account, you can triple post to all three the same post and the same content, and it's
Nice.
all free with
Mhm.
Facebook Business Suite. So that's my number one recommendation right now to people just to get started. I think
Mhm.
that's the easiest because a lot of people don't realize that when you're creating your mock-up images, you can use that as content too, right? And a lot of the punny sayings are very
Mhm.
viral and shareable too. And that's
Mhm.
something that a lot of people don't notice in their own shops is,
Mhm.
oh, how can I get seen on Facebook or Instagram? And some people have some really punny designs that people would reshare. And I think relatable and reshareable content is
Mhm.
much more viral than sellers think.
Mhm.
And even for like Pinterest, you can go on Pinterest.
Mhm.
Pinterest would be my second recommendation. Um, and Leslie, I know you're very like tapped into the social
Mhm.
media game. So what would be like your also
Mhm.
suggestions as far as platforms go?
So something I was thinking was, I know from experience, because I've done it and I've broken the rules unintentionally. There's a
Um,
lot of groups that don't let you self promote in
yep.
them. So that's really important too. Is like, okay, well, how do I get around that? How do I get into all of these groups, or even like Pinterest groups, like you said, like those are other group boards that you can get into that might not include or allow self promotion. What I like to do with those, and also it's the exact same like kind of application that you should do for your own business internally as well is value first. So I am in a bunch of Facebook groups that are directly related to building an online business, being an online entrepreneur, female, entrepreneurship, female empowerment, whatever. And all of that aligns very, very directly with my business and my products. So it's very easy for me to go in there and basically, if someone asks a question about how do you do X, Y, and Z, I am able to go in there and show myself as a thought leader, as an expert, or as another business owner that they might want to connect with. And I can't tell you the number of times by simply just putting myself out there with no link to my store, but alluding to the value that my store products bring. the amount of DMs that I've gotten and the amount of connections that I've gotten and referrals that I've gotten from people in those groups. So just thinking out loud, that might be something to take into account as well. Because I know that's something that a lot of people are like, how do I even get around that? That might be an option. And someone also asked, and I do not actually know the answer to this question, ironically, because I'm the social media person, but if you are selling out of the US, but your personal Facebook is in another country, what should you do? Do you have any feedback on that for Angela?
Ooh, I honestly don't know the answer to
Mhm.
that one just because I feel like a lot of my answers are based by my own experiences,
Yep.
and since I'm in the US, I guess I couldn't give, direct advice. I wonder if anyone in our, like, chat today
Mhm.
may be in a
They're doing
different
it.
country. Yeah,
Mhm.
so, let us know in the comments if any of you have
Yeah.
experience in that, but, I personally don't know a workaround.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of out loud, or I think this would go on any of the different locations, is first of all, like she said, building a business page where the location is a different state that you have like a PO box in or something of that nature in the US. But also just as simple as telling the algorithms of the locations, kind of the same way we would talk to Etsy, utilizing keywords. We're going to do the exact same concept using hashtags. So location tags on your photos that you're posting to Facebook, even if you're in Germany, but it says like, Asheville is where, like, close to where Heather's at, or Lansing, Michigan is close to where I'm at. Something of that nature for a location tag. And we do that often. And then we basically double down. Someone said hi from Germany. Perfect. Then we basically doubled down on that concept and the hashtags as well. That might be a workaround, but also business page is probably going to be the easiest route to go. Great,
Yep.
great question, though. I love that follow up question because you stumped us. So I hope that
Yeah.
helped, but you did stump us a little bit. Okay, so going back to, we're still in print on demand, right? So how, and this is kind of mostly because of the new changes, obviously with the Etsy's shipping notification that happened like middle of last month. But it just took place technically like 9, 10 days ago. How do you handle, or should they handle, shipping charges for your POD customers? Etsy wants us to keep our shipping costs below 6, but my provider, print on demand provider, often charges more. Do you just build this into the cost of the item, or do you do more than $6 for shipping?
Yeah, so there's two ways you can go forward in pricing your products. The first way is what you already mentioned, Leslie, about building it into your price. That is something I didn't like suggesting prior to this whole shipping change and the new shipping policy because I feel like customers can kind of see through that when we're building it into the price, but I think that that is more than necessary with this new visibility change. We do have to go with the flow of Etsy's changes and their policies because that will impact our visibility on Etsy. So I would recommend building it into the price. So an example is if you have shipping on one of the popular products that a lot of sellers sell is the Gilded 18,000. Shipping is typically $8 to even up to $10, depending on what print provider you're using. So let's say it's $8 and your production fees is maybe $16, then you would want to maybe estimate your pricing for the Gildan 18,000 at, let's say, $18, add like subtract $2 from the shipping,
Right.
add that to the production fees, and then kind of reverse engineer your profit and how you're going to price from that. So I hope that makes sense. I feel like I said that in a really confusing
No,
way.
no, no, no. No, I think it
But
makes sense for sure, and that's kinda what I was gonna say too, but also what I have not instructed, but kind of like potentially put as a suggestion, especially if you're just starting out, or if you've maybe been doing this for a month or 2 and you don't have, thousands of items like Heather does that's very related to sweatshirts. Is there also another way to, like, look at other providers that just have cheaper shipping and or other products that you have done the research and you have vetted them that also has cheaper or comparable shipping? So that might be an option too, that if you're like, "I have been selling sweatshirts forever," like, don't listen to that advice, because, like, keep doing what you're doing and then use Heather's idea to make that a little more manageable profit-wise for you. But if you're just starting out, or if you are considering starting out, maybe we can look at I don't know, like a phone case that might be around $4.20. Technically, you're getting a profit if you charge $6 or more, or $6 or less. So just keeping that in mind too, that depending on where you're at in your journey, might be an opportunity to, we always talk about opening our mind box. So maybe it's time to open our mind and see other products that still have ridiculously high demand, maybe even lower competition, but also lower shipping cost overall as well. So I think that's a really good one.
For sure.
Um, Someone did also ask another question that I wanted to ask you, because honestly, this is a question that I have for myself. I don't do this simply because I don't want to deal with it personally. However, I think you know more than I do. So, do you offer upgrades on your shipping for your products? Do we believe that's a good idea? I've seen things like express shipping, extra $10 or something of that sort, especially during the holiday season. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so around the holiday season, if I have customers who reach out, I only offer it if people directly message me. I have considered adding it around the holiday season, but with each product, if and per provider that you use, it varies, and that's kind of one thing that I've never fully offered because it's not as easy of a $20 or $10 fee unless you're using a print provider I think the Printify Express, like, it's
Mm.
across the board, maybe
Oh, yeah.
$10, but
Mhm.
for, like, other print providers, I know it's went up to 20 to
Mhm.
$30, and that's where I just haven't offered it, across the board. So I just say, like, per request only, and sometimes I've added that to descriptions of my
Good idea.
listings around the holiday period where I'll add that in underneath my Christmas deadline. So,
Mhm.
typically around the holiday time, I'll add in bulk, in my listing descriptions, like, oh, you need to order before such and
Mhm.
such date to get your product in time for Christmas. This is the deadline. And then underneath that, I'll put more important information as far as delivery goes. And that's where I'd add in the express shipping and say, hey, please message us directly to request this. And then I send that as like a separate digital product.
Mhm.
So if people already order, they can add it on after
Nice.
too. So that's how I personally handle it. And I've seen a lot of other like top Etsy shops, they have just a digital product that's
Mhm.
add-on express shipping.
Mhm.
So you could go that route too. That's always an option. But personally, I don't offer it all across the board just because I offer different product types and different providers and I know you can like apply it to a shipping profile separately too. So if you have like t-shirts, you could have a t-shirt shipping profile that adds on the express shipping. So there is a way to do it on Etsy. So it doesn't apply to everything, but
Mhm.
it's, you know, I would say if you're using like a print provider that the price is all across the board the same, I would offer it for quarter four. But if you have fluctuating express shipping, then I would reconsider and maybe make it like a separate digital product and by request only. So
Sweet.
hopefully that helps.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. Okay, so two little things I want to hit on real quick. So one person asked, "What's the best way to set up POD on Etsy with Hello Custom?" So Christy, that is not something we are able to go over on this. I do not know how the process works. I would recommend reaching out to Steven and his team at Hello Custom. They're going to be the best ones to give you that answer. Someone also asked, this is on our list of questions, where should I change the shipping price within Etsy or within my print on demand provider? The answer is going to be, you are going to get charged by your print on demand provider, whatever they say the shipping is. So it does not matter. Like, you can make a change in there, but they're still going to charge you that exact amount. What you're going to want to do is go into either the shipping profile that you have on Etsy or go into the individual listings themselves that is applicable to this particular print on demand providers, like shipping information. Go down to the shipping section of that listing or those listings and then edit it in there, and you can have it down to $6. You can have it down to $4. You can have it up to 10. It's really completely up to you, just keeping in mind of the new search visibility changes. But in my opinion, you're going to want to put it on Etsy, but keeping in mind that you are still going to get charged. If you charge 4 and print on demand provider charges 10, you're net 6. You're a negative 6 at that point. So just keep that in mind, that like, it does not matter if you change things on Printify, they will still charge you what they said they were going to charge you in the first place. All right, we are moving now to. I have a couple of questions coming through the comments, so don't worry. I see you, but we're gonna get through the ones that we have first, and we're gonna come back to those. But we're moving on to listing questions now. So this is kind of topic 2. If I add a listing every day, but not on Fridays, is that okay for the store's performance? In your opinion, Heather? I think the answer is more so like maybe not answer this question directly, but like how do you do listings? Do you do them in batches and then you draft them and then you have them all go live individually each day? How does that work?
Yeah, so I usually have like a weekly listing goal. So I try to upload around 10 to 20 a week. I never had a exact like day by day plan as far as my listing goals went. So what I will say is what helps your visibility in the long run and just keeping your visibility and traffic um, pretty consistent from my experience is actively listing on a weekly basis, maybe not a daily basis, but I'd say at least you're adding some listings per month, even. Etsy, uh, they've never really said like verbatim or made an article about that, hey, actively listing in your Etsy shop boosts visibility as far as I know,
Yeah.
as far as I've
I haven't
seen
seen
it.
anything.
Yeah, but from my experience and having multiple shops at this stage, I've noticed that once I stop listing on a monthly
Mm,
basis, that's when I notice that my traffic slows, my orders slow organically. Now,
mhm,
if I'm using Etsy ads and social media, that's a different story because that I'm actively bringing in traffic externally or
mhm,
internally through Etsy ads that Etsy is constantly giving me, more sales. But if I'm not using those two and I'm just trying to hit the algorithm organically, I'm so sorry, by the way. I just got over a cold, so I'm like trying to breathe as I'm talking, and it's like a weird thing that's happening. I'm so sorry if I sound nasally as well. Thank you all for your patience with
mhm.
this interview today. Um, so just talking about that, Etsy basically will organically boost you the more active you are in your shop. I would say on a month to month basis and even week to week basis. I have noticed that the more I post in my shop weekly, the more organic boosts I'm going to get, as opposed to posting like every few months or every 6 months or every year. I try to keep it on a month to month basis, and that's something that I built my recent membership that I started, the Bestseller Insider membership. I built that membership off of monthly challenges
Yep.
to keep people posting actively to hopefully boost their shops organically, and that's what a lot of the members within that have seen in their shops. And it's really cool to see because a lot of people, they're posting monthly now and they're getting a lot of listings up month to month, and that's really helping to boost them organically for those who aren't posting on social media and Etsy. So but that's kind of my answer. I feel like I really over explained that. I am so
Not at all.
sorry.
No, no, that helps a lot because I mean, I was always asking the same question to myself every day. I don't personally have the time to list every day. However, what I did to help myself list every day is batched like 30 of them at one time, created all of them, did the keywords, blah, 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 images, whatever we had to do. And then also making sure that you're trying to do scalable designs as much as possible, which I'm really excited to let you guys know. I'll go ahead and do a little plug here. In 2 weeks from today, we're also going to have Cassie Johnson in this hot seat, just like Heather is. And she is like the queen of scalable design. So we just talked yesterday about what we're going to be chatting about. So if you have the ability to do that, that's really cool too. And then I basically just draft them and then make them all live over the course of 30 days. So that's also another way if you are like me and you do not have time to knock those out on a daily basis as well. So I think it's a great, great, great answer. Okay, so the next thing is, and this might be a longer conversation. Maybe it's like I have a whole other live dedicated to this in the future. But are there some tips that you have, Heather, about choosing the most competitive tags for a listing? What's Heather's process for picking these tags? As a starter, it feels futile to compete with things that are 50,000 plus visibility.
Yeah. So like you said, I'd say SEO is a whole hour
Right.
in-depth conversation,
We
but
have also multiple hours on the YouTube channel, so by all
oh,
means, go
yeah.
watch those too.
I was gonna say, with EverBee, there's so much you can
Mhm.
do with the, research tool, but, the most simplest answer I'm gonna give is I want people to look at their SEO almost like a stock portfolio as far as diversifying your
Nice.
portfolio of tags and SEO that you're using and keywords. I think keywords are the most important when it comes to diversifying your shop and your listings that you're creating. And the way I'm going to explain this is in my head, when I'm researching tags and keywords, honestly, I'm just researching keywords.
Mhm.
And those same keywords that I use for my title is typically what I'm using for my tags. I will say I get more micro niched and
Of
more
course.
lower competition, I would say, in my tags than my
Mhm.
title. But typically speaking, my title and tags are going to pretty much look very similar, except for I have to kind of squish in certain
Mhm.
amounts of characters in my
Right.
tags because you only have 20 tag or 20 characters per
Mhm.
tag. So it's going to look a little bit different. And you'll notice if you ever watch a tutorial on my YouTube channel, I'm like squishing in words, and a lot of people ask me like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "There's a method to the madness, I
Mhm.
promise." Um, but as far as the categories of keywords go, what I'm looking at is typically when I'm doing my keyword research, I try to in a title and a tag, you're usually going to have, I would say, like 12 to 15 keywords that you
Mhm.
could put in. And if we divide maybe 12 divided by the three categories of
Mhm.
tags or keywords, there is about 3 to 4 keywords and that we can kind of squeeze in our title, squeeze in our tags per category. So the three categories are low competition, um, and the second category is medium competition. The third category is high competition.
Nice.
So the low competition tags and keywords, I always stick with having either medium search volume to high search volume in each category. So that's an important one. No matter what competition you're in, you still want a higher search volume, and higher search volume, honestly, I would say for low competition keywords, we're looking at, like, for me, over, I'd say even 100 search volume
Mhm.
per
Yeah.
month. Sometimes over 50 is like that does it for me for the low competition, because if we're thinking low competition, we're looking at probably under 1,000 listings on Etsy, and I know that does not sound low given. There it's tough out here, I will say, with low competition now, because we are seeing higher competition just in total. So that low competition keyword area is now skewed, I would say, to under 1,000. But under 1,000, over 50 search volume per month in keywords, that's what I typically go for. If it's under 50 searches per month on Everbee or any other research that I conduct, that is what I'm looking at. The medium category would be probably over 1,000 searches per month. I would say over 500 to 1,000 searches per month is typically what I'm going for. And again, I'm going to find 3 to 4 keywords. Usually this ends up being a long tail keyword
Yep.
phrase. So to kind of, I feel like I'm really trying to make this quick, and it's not going to be that quick. I'm so sorry, Leslie. I
It's
promise
very important. You're good.
we're gonna wrap this up as quick as I can and summarize, but, so that's what also comes into play is short tail and long tail keyword
Mhm.
phrases for me when I'm doing my research, and typically I'm leaning into the side of long tail keyword phrases, which is 3 keywords or more.
Mhm.
That's a long tail keyword. Short tail keyword phrase is 3 or 2
Two or less.
keywords or
Mhm.
less. So an example is mom gift. That would be a short tail keyword
Mhm.
phrase. Um, Mom of two gift would
Mhm.
be considered a long tail keyword phrase. So that is what I am looking for in my keyword searches. And that typically is going to perform better because we're going to go into maybe the lower competition to
Mhm.
medium competition keyword phrases rather than a short tail keyword phrase. If you look on Everbee, that's going to be mom gift is going to have high competition. It will have high search volume. So that's
Right.
still going to end up in our category of like high search volume, high competition, but that's still great. And again, we're diversifying our
Mhm.
portfolio, right? Like when we're diversifying our stocks, we
Mhm.
want a little mix of each. At least that's what I do for my titles and tags. So I make sure that we have 3 to 4 keywords and keyword phrases that are of high search volume, high competition, 3 to 4 keywords and keyword phrases that are medium
Nice.
competition, medium search volume, and even high search volume. Medium competition and high search volume
Mhm.
is honestly the sweet spot that I
So
like
good,
to
right?
stick in. Yeah. And then 3 to 4 keywords and keyword phrases that are maybe low competition, but medium to sometimes I get low competition or low search volume. So over 50
Right.
searches per month, over 100 searches per month. Again, when we're looking at the ratio of how many listings versus how many searches per month, the ratio is kind of more what I'm looking at, and that's a whole other
Yeah.
thing to dive into that I won't dive into here, but that's why we can kind of sacrifice our
Mhm.
search volume in the low competition area because again, we're the ratio is
Right.
much it's kind of the same as the medium category and high category. So, anyways, that's kind of I hope that helps people. I know I kind of I feel like I need like an illustration or like a
I know,
visual
right?
for me
I need to
to
have a board.
yeah. But those are the 3 buckets of search volume that I serve, and that's what I look into
Nice.
when I'm trying to find keyword phrases and keywords. So I will have very broad keyword phrases in my title and tags. I will have very micro niched
Mhm.
keyword phrases. So like mom of twins, that would
Mhm.
be a very probably more micro niched. We're going to have lower competition, higher search volume, typically with a phrase like that. And it's targeting a specific customer.
Mhm.
And we also want our tags and our keywords and our title to be um, relatable and
Mhm.
relevant to that customer too. So that's another factor to
Mhm.
add into all of this. You want to kind of hit the nail in the coffin, so to speak, with targeting the customer in your keywords too, because if you're
Mhm.
selling a product that doesn't relate to the customer
Mhm.
and the keywords that you're targeting, then you're not going to show up in visibility as well. So there's so many layers in
Mhm.
in SEO. And I promise that's my last point that I will make. But just diversify your
Yep.
portfolio. I don't think it's a bad thing to have high competition keywords, but you also want to mix in those low competition
Cool.
keywords as well in the same breath. So you're kind of hitting all together. And then from those listings that have low competition and high competition, and they're still relevant to the product that you're selling on Etsy, you're going to find you slowly come up in visibility.
Mhm.
At least that's been my experience is I have targeted micro niches that have brought me up in the broad searches. So just like gift, like
Mhm.
coworker gift, I've ranked for, which is a very, very high
Mhm.
competition avenue as far as keywords go, because I've targeted micro niches that I've gotten a lot of sales on. And
Mhm.
that's kind of my method to my madness as far as search optimization goes. So
Awesome. I hope you guys I should have said this at the beginning, but I really hope you guys have a pen and paper
yeah.
because she is literally dropping, like, step by step exactly how to do SEO in, like, the most condensed version. So that helps a lot. I never honestly, I do this all the time in my own business, not related to Etsy, but I never thought about the categories, on how that could be applicable to Etsy as well. So I love that. Thank you so much. Okay, so the next thing is, and this is gonna be, I think we try to go as fast as we can on this one because it could be something we deep dive into.
Yeah.
But in your opinion, the best way to approach the listing description. So we know the keywords we're going to pop in 3 other places, but what about the listing descriptions? Do you have a process or a headings and subheadings that you use? What does that look like?
Yeah, so for listing descriptions, I typically I lean into ChatGPT so heavily. I I'm going to be honest with everyone here. I just copy the title, copy the tags,
Yep.
maybe I'll paste that into ChatGPT and I say,
Nice. Mhm.
ChatGPT, please craft a maybe 2 sentence listing description on Etsy. That's
Mhm.
sometimes I usually put like under 160 characters because I think 1 or 2 sentences is really all you
Agreed.
need, maybe three
Yeah.
sentences. You don't
That's
need to go
also,
that
like,
crazy.
the highest amount that you could do for metadata for Google as well as
Yep.
155 characters, so keep it under that.
Yeah, so just use ChatGPT, honestly, that's gonna get you the fastest, creation of 2 sentences or less, with all of your keywords, strung in there and the keywords that you found through maybe the keyword research that I was just
Mhm.
explaining
Yeah.
earlier, those 12 to 15 keywords and keyword phrases, just have ChatGPT put that all
Sweet.
consolidated together into sentences for you,
Cool.
so
I love that, and then from there, what I like to do with a listing description is think like a buyer slash a viewer slash a shopper. Don't think like a seller or an SEO guru. What you need to think
Yep.
instead is like, if I were to read this description, do I have any leftover questions? If I were to look at these 10 photos in a sequence, do I have any leftover questions? If you do, and you are the one who's making the product, you can guarantee someone else is going to. And those are what's called an e-commerce purchase objections. So that means it'll literally halt someone in their, path to buying something from you. It will literally stop them and they will about face go back to the search and find someone that answered those questions. So use the first 155 characters to basically compound on the keyword strategy that you already did. I don't want you to do a listing description first and then go back and do keywords. It should be the other way around. And then from there, I know it looks different in Etsy. You guys are like, but the title and then the categories and then the description and then the tags. No, do the title and the tags research first, and then you're going to be able to make that awesome listing description. Once you get those 155 characters that is speaking to a search engine and a human, including the biggest search engine in the world, Google, make sure you are also spending the rest of the listing description answering any of those questions that you might have had on maybe a competing person's listing or even on your own listing. So like, how do they take care of it? If it's a digital download, how do they download it? How do they access? Utilize your photos and your listing descriptions to get all those questions answered and basically handle any purchase objections before they happen. Sweet. All right. So let's see. I want to make sure there's a couple of questions that are
Yeah.
similar. So I think I'm just going to bulk them up into one since we are already at 10:40. Holy crap. We got a lot to talk about. Okay. So someone asked a very, very quick question. I just want to see what your thought is. I think I have a thought on it, but I want to confirm with you. I sell tees and sweatshirts, but I have an ornament that I want to put up in my shop. Would it mess up my algorithm? I think the answer is no. If you are a general shop already, I think it is yes if you are a niched down shop and your ornament is like very different from your niche. However, if you are a niche down shop and then you're making an ornament that makes sense to that niche and like Heather said could be relatable to that, then absolutely I think it makes sense in both cases. But I want to hear your thoughts, Heather.
Yeah, I am very much pro general shop. So
Mhm.
whether that be multiple niches within one shop or multiple product types,
Mhm.
I found that what I've noticed on Etsy is they do uh, typically boost listings individually rather
True.
than just the shop as a whole.
Collectively. Mhm.
But I will say if people favorited your shop or they're following your shop, they will get notifications when new products come up if they have notifications turned on and the Etsy email marketing. So that's something to factor in is like Leslie was saying, if it is niche down, you will have people getting notifications and then that kind of brings people back to your shop and then
Yep.
you could get more sales if you are having specific niches that you're serving within your shop as well. So I don't think you could go wrong with adding a new product type. By any means, you cannot go wrong with
Agreed.
doing that. And if you're really concerned about it affecting your shop, you could always start a second shop. I will say that if depending on how like legally your shop
Mhm.
is kind of put together as far as LLC or sole
Mhm.
proprietorship. Now, just want to say I'm not a legal professional by any means,
Me
but
neither.
yeah, not legal advice. Please do consult like legal professionals in your area because every state, every country is different. But I know as far as LLCs go, for me, if I were to open a second shop on Etsy, I would have to probably create a second DBA doing business as for my LLC for any shop I create on top of my LLC. So just make sure you're looking into that and talking to a legal professional in your area, but you can easily do that too.
Very smart.
Um, and even if you're a sole proprietorship, I think it's just registering like a assumed business name or a DBA as well in your state or county. So just look into that as well. Just make sure you're like legally sound for any new Etsy shop or anything like that. But besides that, that's it as far as that goes.
Sweet. I love that. So staying on the niche, I know y'all know I said this wrong. Heather's like niche, like
No,
I think
no,
we remember we had like the mug idea we were gonna do like drink as many times as Leslie says niche wrong and Heather says niche. I should have had
there's
it by now.
it's still open for debate. I think
Oh,
that either way is a great way to pronounce it. I like to play devil's advocate. I would say niche and niche are okay, either way
agreed.
you
Just
say
don't
it.
say it any other way, preferably.
Yeah.
Also, I'm gonna go ahead and open myself up for failure here. Let us know in the comments, how do you say it and how should I say it? Because I know for a fact I'm probably doing it wrong because you guys have told me time and time again. But we own who we are on this channel. So feel free, hit me
Exactly.
in the comments. Let me know if I'm wrong. Okay, so we're staying in the niche space. Okay. Someone asked a very interesting question that I've never thought about before. Do you recommend going, and the answer might be both, but do you recommend going the related niches route or the cross niching route? If you're thinking about doing a general store, or maybe if you have like a niche down brand and you want to kind of like spread out a little bit. I think there is like, I've seen like Western shops add like a T-Rex. So they're like doing, that cross niche that literally makes no sense at all, but for the design it did. So do you have any thoughts on, do you do related niches or do you do cross niching? From your experience, those provide more value or higher sales?
Yeah, I do all the above. I will say I like to mix it cross niche. I like to micro niche. So
Nice.
I do related niches. I cross niche. I think that all of the above is great for just scaling out your shop and going back to what we were talking about earlier about Cassie coming on and
Mhm.
doing scalable design templates. That's also something I practice in my own business
Nice.
and recommend to others is cross niching, micro niching using the same design template, scaling that out to multiple niches. Because if you have one design template working in one shop, if you scale it to all of these other micro niches or cross niches, you can go a long way, especially if it's a very good design that is just selling like wildfire. I highly, highly recommend to do that. So,
Sweet. I love that. Very, very good answer. So staying in that space a little bit more, but thinking Q4. Someone asked, and granted, this was, keep in mind, this was, almost a month ago. So we want to be very mindful of like October 10th as well. Do you think custom or holiday specific is the way to go at this point in the season? Or do we just get ready for 2025? Where are your thoughts on that?
yeah. So I would say that October is what I like to say is more of the last minute holiday
Agreed.
products time. So it's never too late to post last minute like Christmas and seasonal listings. I will say that I like to consider the holidays in just quarter four to think of it like maybe what I said on our last call together, which is that there's a peak sales time for
Mhm.
listings being posted on Etsy. Sorry, I'm having the breathing
Oh no,
difficulty again.
you're
Me just struggling to talk,
breathe, please. You're
so
fine.
it's so crazy. You don't realize how much you use your nose to talk, and I'm so sorry. I feel like I sound mucusy
You're
now.
fine.
Um, so there's a peak sales, like, period. If we look at the, total lifespan of a listing, right? So if we posted a Christmas listing in maybe August compared to October, within the 3-month trajectory of that listing, the peak sale volume period for a listing that was created in August is probably going to hit organically if it really is a great design, it's relevant to the SEO that you created on that listing, it's a great product overall, it has the potential to become a bestseller. The peak sale period might be it's going to start rising by October, hit peak sale volumes probably November and December, and then it's going to probably slump down. And that's very normal for a listing that's going to be posted in August. Now,
Mhm.
if you post a listing in October, you're still going to see maybe a rapid onset. Let's say it's the same exact design, same exact product, and you just posted it in October. That's going to change the trajectory of your
Mm.
listing because it might not see that peak sale volume that it could have in November, but you're still going to get sales. You can still get that bestseller badge. It's just you're not going to hit that peak sale volume. Now, that's why, a lot of, like, other YouTubers and, people, like, we're all prepping around July. Like,
Mhm.
that's the prep period. Six-figure holiday stores are
Mhm.
built in the summertime, I like to say.
Agreed.
And while that still holds true, that doesn't mean you can't get sales, and I don't want that to discourage people watching. You can still post now. I've had a lot of previous clients and students I've worked with who have started in September started posting a bulk of their listings in October for evergreen niches, not just holiday niches. So if you're posting right now, I would recommend most of you to focus on what I call like the 75-25 rule. I would focus 75% of your listings on more
Mhm.
evergreen based listings right now. So that would be a mom gift or some type of gift that
Right.
can also be given during the holidays, but not necessarily fully holiday um like themed. So
Yeah.
we're not
Like
creating
a
like
mom stocking or something like
yeah.
that. Mhm.
Yep. Yeah. So instead of a mom stocking, can you do a mom mug gift
Mhm.
that's just like a mom can get this gift throughout the whole
Yeah.
year rather than just seasonally based because you're still going to hit a lot of sales for that category and you could put one SEO keyword for Christmas. Like just put
Mhm.
one like and you don't need multiple SEO keywords for Christmas. Just one will do Christmas Xmas. That's all
Mhm.
you have to add. You don't have to you could still rank for mom Christmas gifts with only one tag, and you don't even need like, this is a myth that I hear a lot is that you need Christmas tags to rank for the holiday season, and that is a myth.
Mhm.
You don't
Yeah.
need any Christmas tags. Etsy will actually try to rank listings that
Mm.
perform well throughout the year
True.
around the holiday season because at the end of the day, Etsy just wants as many
Sales.
sales as possible.
Right.
So they're gonna rank the listing that does performs the
Mhm.
best, not even that it has Christmas, tags. So, but anyways, that's just me going off in another tangent, but just know
Mhm.
that it's not too late to post. I would just focus 75% of your listings. So if you're posting 40 listings this next month, 30 of your listings you want to be evergreen related, and 10 of those other listings, the 25% rule, right, could be holiday themed. So you could do that Christmas stocking
Right.
for mom or a Christmas ugly sweater or something,
Mhm.
or a festive ugly sweater, not just Christmas, just festive, or holiday party t-shirts. You could do that, but do 10 of your listings that the other 30 do the evergreen. So
Sweet. I would also say, just to piggyback off the keyword thing real fast, is
yeah.
again, like I said for the listing description, think like a buyer, shopper, viewer, searcher. Me personally, I never type in Christmas gifts for dad when I'm trying
Mhm.
to find a Christmas gift for my dad. Instead,
Yep.
what I'm gonna do is gifts for dad from daughter, or gifts from dad from firstborn, you know what I mean? So think about that too, that, like, even people who are actively looking for Christmas gifts might not be putting, like, holiday or Christmas or whatever or even birthday, that could be an evergreen thing, but maybe someone's not birthday gifts for dad unless they're actively looking for, like, age-related gifts. So just keep that in mind too, that's another kind of thing to compound on. It doesn't have to be seasonal because people might not even be typing in that literal word for you to still be able to rank. So
Yep.
really, really good point. Okay, this is completely unrelated to anything we've been talking about so far, but I think it's really important, especially for anybody who might be trying to ramp up with Etsy ads right now, because we did confirm, or we did like kind of tell them like this might be something, encouraged to do during the next 3 months. When launching an item for the first time on Etsy ads, what goal do you set for it? There's 5 choices, and I'm not sure which of the five to use for each phase of my listing. Do you, in your own Etsy ads, ever adjust the phase, or do you just say more sales, more traffic, sales faster, stuff like that, and then that's what you apply to the entire campaign?
Yeah, so I typically do the more sales, or I think it says
Same.
like there's one option for, like, this time period, like, just for, like, short term, so
Yep.
if you're looking to run it for only quarter 4, that would probably be do the short-term goal.
Mhm.
I would recommend maybe that to just boost your sales during this period, and then if you're looking to turn it off in a few months, then you could turn it
Good
off,
idea.
but, I personally have not ever done the traffic one
Me
because
neither. I'm like, I
yeah.
I mean, traffic is great, but, like, I need cha-chings to go.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess this is like my mini vent about Etsy ads, and please forgive me, but I think, I get a little bit, I don't know, just with the metrics that
Mhm.
Etsy runs, they focus on, the click campaign rather than the conversion campaign, and that's something that I keep in mind is as a seller and just in e-commerce in general, we wanna focus on conversions, not just our click or how much it costs for a click on Etsy. What I care about is my, cost per conversion, not the cost per click.
Right.
So that's something I calculate separately on my own. I actually
Smart.
have like a calculator I've created just to like calculate that on my own. That's something I'm going to be probably making a YouTube video about in the future,
Nice.
but I would like to see in the future. I just hope maybe some Etsy representative will
Mhm.
watch this at some
That'd be
point,
great.
but I just hope that they create that in the future is how much we're spending as far as cost per conversion
The actual
or
sale
action.
itself. Mhm.
Yep, yep. So that's what I recommend to a lot of you is to watch
Nice.
that if you're looking to run Etsy ads long term. And there's cost per conversion calculation. Like there's a formula on just searching on Google.
Mhm.
So I just look at every listing individually, not your shop as a whole, because
Mhm.
typically what I do for my Etsy ads now is like less than 10% of my listings that I
Mhm.
have. I only have less than 10% of my listings I run ads on.
Nice.
And that's kind of what I go for in the future. But as far as like what to select, again, if you're doing short-term goal for only quarter 4, you're going to run ads. Do the short-term one if but I don't select the traffic one.
Got it. Me too.
So,
I try to stay away. I mean, just with anything too, like, even if you go to, like, boost a post on Instagram, like,
yeah.
I don't want more traffic. I mean, yes, I want more exposure in general, but the goal is to, like, have qualified exposure, which theoretically speaking should also convert to buyers. So, I completely agree.
Yep.
And we've only got a few minutes left. If you guys are cool with hanging out with us a little bit past 11, we might make it past there. If you got to hop, don't worry. This is recorded, so feel free to go to the YouTube channel if you ever need to catch up on the remainder. We have made it through the questions. However, there are now more questions, as I imagined. So, with that said, I'm going to go through. We got about 9 right now, really quickly. I'm going to vet them a little bit and see if we can maybe skip a couple. But I do want to make sure that you guys joined live, so you guys are getting your questions answered live. So, with a digital product, we're going back, which I should have asked this in the moment, but we're going back a little bit in time to the conversation about express shipping. So she is asking, with digital product, quote unquote, do you mean just create a listing called express shipping or upgraded shipping or something of that sort?
Mhm.
Don't jump into the full blown tutorial of it by any means, but is there any tips that you can give Angela for that?
Yeah, so this would be a separate digital product. You would name it express shipping, add on to order, or something along those lines. And you could always make this like almost a hidden listing too if you don't
Okay.
want
Yeah.
people to
That's a good
see
idea.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah, just in case people are just adding it to their order
Right.
left and right. But you it's usually a separate digital product people will
Mhm.
check out, and then they can add it to their order as well, and you can easily send it to them.
Right. Just straight through like Etsy message.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. Someone else asked, and I'll go ahead and answer this one because it should be very quick. How do you know what the ordering deadlines are for the holidays, say for my print on demand provider? It's the October 10th. They should be reaching out to you. Make sure your email notifications are on from your POD providers. And then also make sure that you don't have them accidentally going to spam. I did that. And it wasn't intentional, but it's just like I had to be like, oh, hey, you're chilling in my junk, and I didn't know. Trust me from experience, Heather can probably say this as well. They will not leave you alone. Like you will be like, I don't want to receive any more notifications because once it starts getting closer to that date, depending on who your POD provider is, you will start receiving those emails very quickly. They'll start popping it on their website. They'll start popping it on the items, product pages themselves. So just be aware that that is coming. And usually cutoffs can start as early as like December 1st. Sometimes I've even seen it November 20th if it's something that's coming from out of the country. But I would say, like, if you don't see anything by November 15th, reach out to your POD provider through their chat and be like, what am I dealing with? Because you also have to keep in mind that it's not just the print on demand provider itself that has these stipulations, it's the suppliers that they work with. So you
Mhm.
might have SwiftPod, for example, that's December 10th. You might have Monster Digital also in your shop that is December 15th. So just being very mindful of what you have in your shop, treating your shop like a business, not like an expensive hobby, like we say all the time, knowing who your suppliers are, not just my print on demand provider, because they really don't have any say in this. It's the people who are actually printing the item. So just make sure you're also keeping a watchful eye on that as well.
Yep.
This Marlena, I'm gonna ask this question. I think I'm gonna answer it myself, and I want Heather to be like yay or nay. But how much should you set aside from each sale for state/federal taxes? Very interesting question. And I really think, just like we are not legal counselors, we are also not tax counselors or tax accountants or financial advisors. So the answer immediately is ask somebody who knows what the heck they're talking about. Get a financial advisor, ask those questions. Think about, again, do you want to be an LLC? Do you want to be a sole prop? Do you want to be an S Corp? All of those have different requirements. Me personally, I'm crazy and I am scared of the IRS. So I personally set aside 30% of every piece of income that I get bi-weekly. I just literally see what I got, and then I take 30% and I pop that into a high yield savings account. That does its thing. It accrues interest on my behalf. And then when I'm ready to pay my quarterly taxes, I just take money out of that and I'm good to go. Like I said, I'm crazy though. So 30% is probably not what you guys have to do. But I like to call it like my play money when April comes around and I don't have to spend all of it because I was prepared the whole year. That's my answer. Talk to someone who knows what they're talking about, first of all, and then save what you believe you are going to have to spend this time next year. Heather, do you have any other thoughts there?
Yeah, so I'm crazier than you're crazy, Leslie. Yeah, so I save, so I set aside 30%, that's my rule too, but then I set aside additional 20% to business expenses. So
Good
I
for you.
have
Yep.
2 savings. I have one
Smart.
for business expenses, set aside 20% to that.
Yep.
Every time I have profit, at 50% goes to business savings and
Nice.
tax savings. And what's really nice about business savings is just in case I didn't save enough for taxes, I have that 20% kind of
Love it.
coverage, but also I'm paying for my tax services too.
Mhm.
And I'll just say this during this call as well is what I found in my first year, because I know meeting with a CPA
Mm.
is so pricey when you first
True.
start out because
True.
it's a few $100s for just like
Mhm.
one session with a CPA.
Mhm.
But let me just say that the first time I met with a CPA,
Mhm.
they literally saved me thousands that tax year.
Yeah, same.
So cannot recommend enough
Yep,
to
agreed.
just seek out some type of, because
Mhm.
even penalties alone that you could face, you're saving hundreds by just meeting with a CPA that you could have faced in penalties, but
Mhm.
instead you did all of your taxes correctly that year. And now you're not facing penalties that could have cost you
Yes.
hundreds to
Mhm.
thousands. So just keep that in mind. I know I don't want to fear monger, but like that is literally the reason why we are
Agreed.
recommending that to you all, because I would have faced that, and if I had not seen a CPA. So anyways,
Mhm.
that's my
Yeah.
little me
And
getting on my
I'm not,
pedestal.
again, not trying to fearmonger either, but I will say, like, she's like what you could have prevented yourself from. I'm just gonna straight up
Yeah.
own it. I had to pay 9,000. So, I messed up during my first um, like Schedule C years,
Yeah.
like before I became an LLC, they have this little document that you basically fill out called a Schedule C that is like, here are all the expenses and here are all the line items of income that you got. At the time, I was running a handmade home decor and a print on demand shop, as well as my normal online freelancing business and my normal 9 to 5 full-time job. It was a lot to manage, and I was like, I got this. I so did not have it. And also I moved to Michigan, Lansing, Michigan, where for some reason the people here, if anyone watches this, I hope it's the city of Lansing more so than Etsy. They, for whatever reason, I don't know if anybody else deals with this in Michigan too, but we have city tax. And I'm a Florida girl. And I was like, what is that? Why are you charging me 3 times to live? Uh,
Yeah.
so I literally had to fork out multiple years of city tax that had been chilling in the background that I was like, I don't have to pay that. I did. And my CPA told me the literal first time I ever talked to her, let's say, needless to say, I literally only talked to her for the rest of my business. So again, not to be fear mongering, like Heather said, but protect yourself, protect your future self. Because if I could have spoken to Leslie in 2017, I wish I would have chatted with that person, at least just to have a conversation, know what I'm dealing with. And then if you want to manage it yourself from there, that's totally fine too. I personally don't because, again, I'm scared. But again, that is completely up to you guys.
Yeah.
All right. So Charlene or Charlene, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, said if you go away on vacation for a couple of weeks, is it best to put your shop on vacay mode or just extend your delivery time so you can still meet the deadlines when you return home?
Yeah, that's a great question.
What is it?
So
Especially right now in the holidays.
oh yeah,
Mm,
yeah. So this is kind of a two-part answer because it depends. If you're going on a few week vacation, I would say like 2 weeks or less.
mhm,
I personally have not put my shops on vacation mode because what happens is when you go on vacation mode, you still have to check your Etsy shop for any customer service issues or any problems that you may have. Even when the customer receives their product, if it comes out defective, or maybe they get their product and they're really upset and they want to message you, this has always been kind of my own like self talk is, hey, Heather,
mm,
like, your shop is on vacation mode, you're not making any money during this time that it's on vacation mode, and you're still working during the 2 weeks
mm.
that you're taking a vacation, so you might as well keep your shop open during
Yeah.
that time period. That's what I tell myself when I'm on
Mm,
vacation. I'm like, "You know what? I'm on vacation." It's pretty much, like, semi-passive, not
mhm,
fully passive, but I'm, just answering customer service, which is just messaging on my phone. If
mhm.
I can message my friends and family on my phone, then I should be able to, but that's just me.
Right.
That's my
Again,
own
we're
self-talk.
crazy, so just, take that with a grain of salt.
Yes, yes, we are crazy, but I I just also factor in that this is, like, my full-time job too, and, there are
True.
some downsides, but the upsides is
Mhm.
I can vacation whenever I want. So
Exactly.
I tell myself that, and I'm like, "Hey, you're not working in healthcare where you're working on call, like, there's swap outs, right?"
Yep.
So that's what I tell myself, but I know that's not helpful to people who also are working 9 to 5, they're going
True.
on vacation. It's like, "Heather, I need to take a vacation," right?
Right.
So if you wanna take a vacation, what I recommend and you want to do vacation mode, I recommend taking a week off prior. So closing your shop for vacation mode a week prior to your vacation to handle any customer service issues, because the bulk of your customer service issues
Mm,
are generally going to come in the week after you put it on vacation mode. Sometimes it's 2 weeks, it could be 3 weeks. You could still get some messages coming through, but I would give yourself a 1 week,
like a buffer.
jump start just so
Mhm.
you don't have that and you're not working on your vacation.
Perfect.
It does take your listings off of Etsy's algorithm. You can
Mhm.
have issues with your listings losing momentum on Etsy and
Mhm.
not getting as many sales. And around quarter four, I personally don't recommend it. But what I would recommend to you is if you are on vacation, I would not offer like customization or personalization if you can. If your shop is based primarily on personalization, customization, then again, you may have to consider the
Like,
vacation mode if your vacation is during this period of time. But for me personally, I just didn't offer customization or personalization when I was on vacation. So I would
Mhm.
keep my shop open. I would not offer personalization. So when people reached out to me, I'd say, sorry, we're not doing personalization just because our design team, I'd say
Mhm.
our design team
Nice.
is off when it really was me. Like I
Right.
knew our design team is not in right
Yep.
now. So when they come back, they can complete your personalization.
Mhm.
So please, reach out to us if you still want this product in 2 weeks with personalization.
Nice.
So I hope that helps. I know
Mhm.
that's kind of a very vague answer, but it depends on what you're like, how frequently you think you can check into your shop. And, if you're getting 1 to 2 messages a day, I would say, or, if you can do personalization
Mhm.
on your vacation and it's 1 to 2 personalizations or 1 to 5, and you could segment off an hour a day
Right.
in your vacation to do that, then by all means. But if not, then forget what I said. Take the vacation mode earlier and
Yeah.
have that rest time that you do deserve.
Mhm.
So I hope that helps
100%. No,
anyone.
I love that.
Yeah.
And also someone asked, and I don't know the answer to this, but going on vacation in a country that does not support Etsy, will they put my shop on hold and then I have to log back in when I get home? So would it be put on vacation mode for her? Or is it like, in my opinion, I don't know how this works, but I feel like even if you are not there, but your shop is still like centralized in America, let's just say, I feel like the shop shouldn't go on vacation just because you are traveling to India or something. Do you believe that's the case too?
I've traveled to a few countries that it's not supported in my time of owning my Etsy shop, and I can confirm it does not put your shop on hold. If anything, like I've traveled to countries that like TikTok is banned in,
Yes, I
and
have too.
yeah, and if anything, social media, you're like I've tried logging into TikTok and it said like error, like I
Mhm.
can't log into social media when I'm in other countries.
Right.
But Etsy, I've had no problems with.
Yeah.
I've
But
never had a
also it's
problem.
not like your TikTok gets, like, shut down. It's just
Yeah.
you can't access it while you're there, and then when you go back, you can access it just fine, but that
Yep.
whole time, you were accumulating views and likes and blah, 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 so 99% sure that's the same concept for Etsy as well.
Yep.
Sweet. So someone asked, do you save longer tail keywords for titles and then and image alt text, excuse me, and then shorter ones for tags. And I would say it's kind of a combination of both. We're not saying, I mean, you have 20 characters, right? And plus spaces, that includes spaces. So you have to keep that in mind. And we still want you to use long tail keywords if possible in all of these places. But please also be mindful. Someone asked this in our Facebook group today. And I want to make sure everyone knows this as well. Alt text is not a place for keyword stuffing. Alt text on images is literally for people who potentially like can't read it appropriately, or they need to be like basically like spoken to through audio of what they are looking at. So it
Yep.
would be like a white mug with flowers and cursive font. Like, so instead of saying gift for mom with twins, like don't pop that in alt text, because the person who cannot see this, who is visually impaired, is going to have this auditory that says gift for mom with twins. And they're going to be like, but like, what is the gift? So that's what alt text is for. Please do not use that space for keyword stuffing. Use it to basically tell the search engine, as well as someone who might be visually impaired, exactly what the image holds. So I hope that makes sense.
Yep. Good point.
So someone also said, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna ask this, but it's gonna be hopefully very quick. I'm trying to keep to a certain style in the dog space, but I will cross niche to professions, holidays, and locations. Does that make my store a general store, or is it still a niche store? In my opinion, niched still. Even if you were to like expand into pets in general, that's still a niche store in my opinion. Do you believe the same, Heather, or is she on to something where she might be able to get into the general space?
I'd say that it's kind of floating to more of the general space, but yeah, I'd say you know I don't think it's really black and white as far
Mm,
as
agreed.
niches go, and like I said, Etsy really is looking individually at your listings. Is it relevant to your SEO? Are you getting sales on those keywords? And they're going to boost that listing individually. So just think of your listings as like individual, like, when you're when you're born, you have a social security number. That's kind of
Right.
like your listings. They're getting their own social security
Yeah.
number. They're getting their own start in the world.
Mhm. I love that.
So that's kind of how I envision listings currently, the way that the algorithm is.
Mhm.
That could always change, like we see with social media platforms where it's social media platforms are very niche down.
Yeah.
We're seeing your one niche, like it's like YouTube, like you talk
Mhm.
about Etsy and print on demand. You are now at Etsy and print on demand
Mhm.
channel. That is not
For
the
like
same.
life. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because even, like, recently, I started talking about mental health on my channel. Absolutely no views. YouTube was like,
Not
"Forget your
today.
mental health." Like,
Right.
they were
We're
like,
not
"You
gonna
over
reward
here."
this.
Yeah. So, that's how, that's the opposite of how Etsy
Mhm.
is, as far as I've seen recently, is, yes, they do, like, promote you a little bit more for niches, but the listings are by themselves.
Yeah.
They're doing their own thing, they're going their own trajectory, so just keep that in mind.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that is all of them. Someone did ask one question about if they get a sale on vacay, should they reach out to the customer and extend the delivery deadline? I do not recommend that whatsoever. So, Charlene, if you are a handmade seller and you are physically having to be the one to do it all, you got to put that shop on vacay. In my opinion, just because like you're not physically there, and if you don't have a VA or team members who can help you do that, I don't think there's any way without like hurting your customer service success score, which is kind of a newer thing that came out in September. I don't think there's a way to extend the delivery date and make Etsy happy. So I would just
Agreed.
recommend, if you are a handmade store and you can't have a print on demand provider or an automated software or a person handle these things for you, you got to put that baby on. That baby that's getting out into the world, like Heather said, you got to put it on vacay. So that is all, guys. It's perfect timing. 11:11, make a wish. We are, thank you guys so much for staying here. We still got about 130 people listening to us live right now. Again, everybody watching the replay, we love you guys as well. And thank you guys for being here. Heather, are there any last minute things you want to tell the team? Anybody that's out there right now? Obviously, go watch Heather, first of all. It's Heather Studio. Go do that immediately after this. Go subscribe to her. But is there any last minute things you want to say for today?
Yeah, I guess just stick with it. This is probably the crazier time of the year. It's holiday rush season, so a lot of the times you're going to come across a lot of customer service issues, a lot of possible product defects, shipping order delays, not to scare people, but just know that if this is your first holiday season, take it all as a learning experience. You're going to get better with time. You're going to get I'm so sorry if anyone's named Karen in our group that's watching, but you will get some Karens.
Understood.
Just take it with a grain of
Mhm.
salt. Try to say yes to every customer. Try to help them the best that you can. Know that people are dealing with their own issues right now, and don't take it personally when you have a customer coming at you or maybe giving a negative review around this time of
Mhm.
year. A lot of people are going through hardships and battles that we don't
Yeah.
know, and just try to be nice, spread kindness.
Yeah.
Even if you need to refund a customer around this time of year, that can go a very long way. I've had so many customer refunds and exchanges that I've done out of just pure, like, this is me donating basically back to my customer, because I know they're probably going through something difficult right now in the season of their life. And that have has came back to me in getting 5-star reviews. So just know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel when you have tough customer situations around this time of year. Just try to give back to your customers as well. And a lot of people are going through a lot of things right now. So besides that, that's, I guess, my
That's
final final thing to say around this time of year.
I love it. Perfect. And I couldn't agree more, because I actually had the exact same thing happen where someone literally left me a 2-star review, and then I responded immediately and I gave them a solution very quickly, and he changed it to 5 stars without me even asking. I was like gonna be fine with the 2 stars and just like let it be.
Yep.
So really, really could just mean the world, especially because like we talked about when we first got on, some not so great weather happening, and it's not probably going to get better for the people in the Midwest and North over the next couple of months as well. Also being mindful of, like, again, we talk about holiday cutoff dates for your POD provider, but also inventory and stock. Like, don't blame your print on demand provider for that if you are not being communicative with your customers. Okay. So just please be very, very mindful of that. Keep an eye on that. Treat this as a business, not an expensive hobby. I can only say that at least one more time before we end. But just making sure that you know what's going on. You are in the know if you are not a handmade seller that is owning all of the pieces. And that will hopefully prevent things from happening or mitigate things from happening or lessen them. But if and when inevitably they do, use Heather's advice as well to just spread kindness while you are getting those cha-chings. So
Yeah.
thank you guys again so much for being here with us today. I will personally see you guys next Thursday, as always, 10 a.m. Eastern. And then the following Thursday, it's going to be me and Cassie Johnson. So I hope to see you guys all then, and we will talk to you soon. See ya.
See you guys.